Hey, my name is Taria with the Future Successors podcast, where the future is now. Today, I'm here with Dave Hailey. How you doing?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm
Good to
doing
see you.
good,
It's a
good,
pleasure to be
good.
here.
Thank you for coming. Dave Hailey is a founder of Countifi and also alumni of Duke University.
I am. That's very true. You did your research.
Yes, I did. Um, Being alumni of Duke University and also owning your own company has came with a lot. And I know everyone has their own definition in today's society of the meaning of success. So, what does success mean to you?
Success, that's a good question. It's a broad question. To me, really, success means doing what I want when I want. I think it doesn't always have a monetary definition, right? Or a monetary equivalent. Like success is when I have $10 million or success is when I have $1 billion. I think it's more about how can I control what I want to do every day, right? And I think that's, to me, my true meaning of success, when I'm able to do that.
Thank you. Um, Also owning our own company and going to Duke, which is a very prestigious PWI to get in.
PWI, right?
Yes. How did you have relationships help you along the way? So how did your relationships along the way help you get into Duke and get your company started? Because I know you had to have relationships to get that started. So
Right. I think, truthfully, relationships are everything. Like understanding people work with who they like, right? People work with who they know. So it's easier for me to come to your podcast here because I know people that are also affiliated with it, right? And so it's, to me, relationships are everything. So fostering real relationships, building those relationships are really, really important. And it's really important for me, first of all, like talking to people and having conversations with people before you need them, before you need to ask them for something, right? So I think that's how true relationships, a true network is built by, engaging with people, understanding kind of what they like, what moves them, but also having something to offer too, right? It's not all about how can you help David, but also how can David help you. I think that's the way you truly build relationships.
okay, thank you. How do you keep new relationships that you find keep going? How do you keep them going? Once you make these new relationships, how do you keep them? How do you develop them more to relate these new relationships turn into friendships, long-lasting friends,
Right.
partners, and stuff?
Yeah, I think it's more about kind of constantly, not constantly, but continue to engage with people, right? As I said, don't always just react or just reach out to someone when you need them, or always asking like, how can you be helpful to them? So to me, it's really about, hey, how can I make sure I have a regular cadence with somebody? Especially I want to build a strong relationship with someone. How can I have a regular cadence where we talking on a regular basis, whatever that interval is, whether it's weekly, monthly, on a regular basis, and how can we like meet for lunch or meet for drinks or meet for coffee, whatever that is. How can I make sure that I'm continuing to foster that when like on a regular basis? That's the only way to me you'll really build long-term sustainable relationships is frequent contacts.
Being constant. Thank you. Also, people in today's society, we also confuse achievements and success with as the same thing, that being the same thing. Also, you have achieved being working at Delta, working at other places, also being a founder of your own company.
Hmm.
What does success and achievement mean to you, or what are the difference between those two?
Yeah, I mean, you can achieve a lot of things, right? You can achieve having an accomplishment, having a trophy for something, say, hey, I achieved this, I made it to this milestone. It still doesn't equal success, right? I can achieve a lot of things, but those achievements might not turn into monetary value, or it might not turn into my definition of success where I can do what I want when I want, right? I think achievements look good on paper, looks good on IG and Facebook and LinkedIn and say, hey, I did this, I accomplished this. But I think understanding what success means to you is the first part of like making sure there's a difference between, because you can have all the accolades, all the trophies, but still internally not be successful by your definition, right? So I think it's a very fine line between, hey, I've achieved this, but I'm still not officially successful by by my definition.
Thank you. I know you've had your ups and downs with finding your own company, because I just know it's not easy
Yeah,
to
it's
be
not
a
easy.
to be a founder of your own company.
Like a roller coaster ride.
Correct. How did you handle those ups and downs, and what was the moment that you had a moment of resilience?
So any entrepreneur who started their own company will always have ups and downs, right? They might be bright and shiny on the outside, but crying about the down the inside. I think it's just being, as I said, it's a roller coaster ride. I try not to let my highs get too high and my lows get too low, right? Keeping it in the middle of the road, saying even if something is going terribly, there's no money in the bank, we have no clients, no prospecting clients. It's really just, hey, I know that this will pass. Like, I know that if we continue to work hard, be consistent, I know that this hardship will pass. The same way when things are going great. The bank is full of money, clients are calling all the time. I know that that's going to pass too, right? I know that this probably is only temporary. So how can I make sure that I'm still being consistent, doing the things that I need to achieve my goals for me to be successful? And so your question was about resilience. I think it's just being consistent every day. How can I make sure that I have goals and I'm working to achieve those goals every day, and not let the highs make me too high and the lows make me too low?
Thank you. All right, can you share a moment with me where you had a moment of resilience? Like, you came to a moment of realization, like, I can't let this up and this down bring me down, and I be down and just
Yeah, I
like
can.
can't
I
get
can.
back up.
Yep. We did a project with Emirates Airlines last year, and so we were going back and forth to Dubai, installing cameras in the kitchen facility for Emirates Airlines. And it was like a 3-month project. And the goal, of course, was it was a temporary project. The goal was to make it a long-term project, right? But we were working towards it. Everything was well. We met all the KPIs for success. And Emirates came to us and says, we have bigger problems right now. We have all these planes. We can't find pilots, a bunch of other issues. So we can't, although we think the project was valuable, we can't make it a long-term project yet. And so to me, it was heartbreaking. I was like, man, damn, we went this far, going back and forth across the country, spent all this money trying to make it work, and it didn't work, right? Or we did not meet our goal for that specific project. So, and my team, I was disappointed. My team was disappointed, but it was more like, still, that's just one airline. That's just one country. Like, we can work in. There's,
Several other countries
oh
that
man,
y'all can
there's
go work in.
over 200 other countries
Right.
that you can work in. There's over 300 airlines that we focus on, right? That we target. So I just, again, not let my low get too low and say, hey, okay, that didn't work out, but there's a bunch of other fish in the sea. It's a bunch of other clients that we can go after. And so just have to stay positive and saying, hey, it's their loss, right? It's their loss not to work with us. And how can we make sure we target other companies and, stay with the game plan, stay with our goals, and be consistent.
Thank you. Also, let's touch on it. What is your company Countifi about? For the viewers to touch on it, because I did my own research on it.
Right. So we are a computer vision and AI company. What we do is we take pictures of inventory and we count it automatically with computer vision and AI. So if you think about the airline example, we work with Delta and other airlines now, where the beverage cart that comes off the plane that has the soda cans and liquor inside of it, when that comes off the plane, they take it back to a kitchen, and before they refill it to get it ready for the next plane, they hit a button and it takes a picture of that tray. And they move on, they keep taking pictures and more pictures of the tray. And what we do is we take we decipher those images and say, hey, 75% of your Coke Zero is coming back off the plane. It's not being consumed. And so how can you adjust inventory, reduce your inventory, reduce your labor, and potentially reduce the weight that goes to the plane? And so what it does is make the process more efficient. Instead of somebody manually counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which takes time, we just simply take a picture, which takes about half a second, and we give them the data back.
So basically, he's just using the use of technology now to make a lot of things easier.
Make a lot of things easier. Exactly.
That's very smart. Like, that's beyond mind blowing how technology develops over the time now, to the point where you can take a picture of inventory instead of manually counting something. That's
Exactly.
very surprising and amazing. Having a company of your own, although you had a lot of days where you did hard work, what was the extra topping on your hard work that made your company possible?
Yeah. So the extra extra topping, I think it's just being consistent. Again, I think it's not necessarily one thing that you do that say, hey, this is the one thing I need to do to make a company successful. It's a myriad of things. It's a ton of things that have to be done. Got to make sure your marketing is in order. The way you communicate to your customers are in order. The way you communicate to your vendors, the people that provide us things are in order. So it's probably 15 different like critical key factors I think that make any company at any given day like successful. And you have to continue to do those things day after day after day, week after week after week to be a success.
Thank you. Last question. What is your championship in your career field?
What is a championship in my career field?
So what's your trophy? What tops off your career field? Or have you reached that goal yet?
So I haven't. So I know you did your research. I'm an accountant by trade, right? I've been an accountant for the last 15 or so years. And so when I started this company, I'm a first-time entrepreneur. In my other fields, I guess when I was in public accounting, I guess a championship would be being a partner at that firm, or while I was at Delta in the airline industry, being a vice president or VP or EVP at those companies. To me, I think it's now being an entrepreneur. It's like, how can I not only build a successful company for me and my teammates and the people who work on the team, but also how can I build a legacy as well? Like I have two sons. How can I build something for them that they might want to take over when they get of a certain age? Or I can have a company provide generational wealth that allows my sons and my next generations to be successful. So to me, that would be the trophy. Like, hey, I can pass something down to
So how can
my
you multiply your company to be passed on? How can it
exactly
benefit your children and their
their
children?
children.
So generational wealth. There you go.
Wealth. That would be
Okay.
the trophy.
Generational wealth.
Yes,
That's,
sir.
especially in our community, that's a lot needed because we are not too fortunate to have generational wealth.
You're exactly right. I mean, and it takes generations, right? It takes generations. And it takes people being consistent and doing the hard work, things they don't want to do. So it's hard. It's hard, but we can get there. We're gonna get there.
You're right. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you, David Hailey, for
Thank
coming
you, T.
with us.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you. And Tarian is signing off.
Hey man, you real good.
You did a good job.
I did great.
Yeah. You were nervous? I couldn't tell you were nervous at all.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid question.
Yeah,
The other
definitely.
person I haven't got here. I don't know if you got another question you want to ask. The other person I haven't.
That's an I do because entrepreneur ship. What was your motivation to keep going?
Man, my family, truthfully, right? Family, kids, mom, dad, and thinking about, as you go back to success, thinking about what success really looks like, and being in corporate America for so long, realizing that their definition of success was not my definition, right? So continuously,
Because definition of success in corporate America is a white man definition of success. It's not a black man definition of success. It's
Wait.
always a white man's definition of success.
yes and no. Like I don't look at it as in a color situation. Truthfully, I think the corporate America is not built for black people. I totally agree with that, right? But there's a bunch of black people who have made their way in corporate America and are very, very successful, right? So I'm not knocking anybody from the corporate America perspective. But what I realize is, as I said, their definition of success was moving up this corporate ladder. As I kind of started thinking more independently, more entrepreneurial, like, hey, that is not my definition of success. How can I make sure that, as you say, generational wealth? It's much harder to build generational wealth as an entrepreneur, but I think there's a lot more risk, but there's a lot more reward as well. And so that reward is what keeps me going.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just asking because my major in college is biology with a minor in psychology.
Okay.
I want to, deal with mental health, as far as because it runs in my family.
Right.
And I want to create, once I get my degree and work a couple of years, I want to create a group home that's for kids with mental health with mental health issues. It's like an open home for them, especially within the black community, because it's not discussed enough.
It's not. It's exactly right.
It's not discussed enough at all, because having people in my family, from my grandma to my auntie, my grandmother that has dealt with mental health issues. It's like it's not discussed enough in our family or in the community when it comes to us, or when it comes to just anybody. Mental health is not discussed enough. It's taken as a joke, or it's not taken it seriously. So my whole ordeal is to, for it to be taken more seriously, and understand the more depth of mental health,
Yeah.
and just the studies of it. Work with people with mental health issues, because dealing with learning how my auntie deals with her her problems, and my grandma deals with hers. I have a grandma she's 72 now, and she has dementia. So now she's at the point in her life where her psychiatric problems kind of affects them. So she has moments where she sleeps, she has these nightmares, sleep is nice, and she's back at the point where she's saying she's hearing voices.
Right.
So it's like I want to understand the more depth understanding of it and help people within it. So just understand, because I want to start like a group home and something like that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You're right. Mental health affects so many people that we don't even realize it. And I think before there was such a stigma or such a negative connotation around mental health, or saying, "Hey, I'm depressed. I have anxiety," and goes deeper. Should I get medicated? And so your goal to have a group home, I think, is phenomenal, right? Because you're right. In our community, it's definitely something that is needed. And the more education we have about it, the less stigmas and negative connotation there will be around it.
Yeah, because not having education on mental health is like, everybody feel like if I have a mental health problem, I have to be medicated on it. No, you don't.
Right.
Because all medication don't help. What you have can be helped with therapy.
Right.
Or simple conversations, talking to a therapist. And some just aren't that low enough to deal with just having a conversation. They might have to have a conversation and some medicine. And so I just want to, get people to understand the difference between that. And, so.
No, that's phenomenal, man. I agree. I have a therapist that I talk to, right? Because as you're talking about entrepreneurship, the roller coaster ride, like not being enough, imposter syndrome, like it's so many things that and really the biggest feeling for me is like knowing that you're not alone, right?
Yes.
Having a therapist, having somebody to talk to say, "Hey, I'm not alone in this, and these are my feelings," and being comfortable sharing those feelings with someone is really, really important.
And more of my main focus is Black men mental health, because we kind of have the stigma that we don't have to talk to nobody.
Right.
We deal with our problems on our own. We shut everyone out. And, shutting everyone out is not the best idea, because you hold all that in, and once you do let it out, it's like a big explosion, and people are going to be like, "Oh, you crazy, for real, for real. Like, let me back up from you." Like, but you don't want that. You want to be able to talk and get your feelings across. And I want, because as a kid, that's how I dealt with my stuff. I didn't say nothing about it. When I exploded, they be like, "All right, what's wrong?"
Right.
So, giving Black men an actual chance to, have a conversation and talk.
That's phenomenal, man. That's phenomenal. Yeah. That's phenomenal. Well, I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Much success. Congratulations on graduating high school and on to Albany State, man. I'm sure you'll do
go Rams.
Phenomenal. Go Rams. I'm sure you'll do phenomenal, man. So good luck.
Thank you.
I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for this time.